Hi, this is Steve Vanderbilt with RegimeChange.org. Going to do the day's update. I know we talked yesterday about doing an economics brief, but frankly, we're going to talk about a little bit about that day and what the Congress did. The Senate today turned around and agreed to allow the federal government to borrow more money. They were talking about 1.4, but they decided to throw another half a trillion on there. That's $500 billion they decided they needed to have an overdraft for. To put that into perspective, that's an additional $6,158 per U.S. citizen that they just decided to encumber us with. Now, if you want to look at that adding interest over the term of the bonds, you're looking at about $7,500 per U.S. citizen. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, except they did the same amount last year. So, or same amount of borrowing when you factor in interest. So, in the last 2 years, actually not even the last 2 years, basically in the last 15 months, the federal government has put an extra $15,000 in debt on each U.S. citizen. This is one day after the State of the Union, where the Republicans and the Democrats, led by President Obama, decided to pat themselves on the back for being such good financial stewards. Keep this in perspective, this administration has now spent more money than every prior administration cumulative. The numbers are really kind of daunting and they're very frustrating. The cost of the federal government borrowing money now is about 40 cents on the dollar. For every dollar they bring in, it costs them 40 cents. Would you like to work for that? Don't think so. So this $1.9 trillion they're going to borrow is going to only yield $1.14 trillion, or $1,140 billion, which isn't too much more than that overdraft they put on there, is there? That's kind of where we're sitting at today. I'm just absolutely dumbfounded at these numbers and the decisions of the two-party system to continue to authorize themselves to write checks on accounts that don't have any money in them. It's only a matter of time, people, until governments around the world decide to stop buying U.S. debt, because we're getting ready to hit a massive readjustment in the dollar. Now, the problem here is the United States now has a tremendous trade deficit. In other words, we import more than we export. And because of that, we are constantly having to borrow money to spend it to go someplace else. It's a rapid cycle of destruction that just isn't going to go anywhere very quickly. And I think we're getting close to the end of the road. The problem is all the economies in the world are so integrated that when we fail, everyone else fails. So if you're around the world rooting for the U.S. to fail, you're cutting your own throat too. Now, keeping this in perspective, the two largest owners of U.S. government debt are two Asian nations, one being China and the other one being Japan. Both of them in the $700 billion range. Where's this newly printed, minted money to go? Who's going to buy it? What kind of value does it have? Those are questions we need to start asking ourselves. And moreover, is this really good, sound fiscal policy? From last night's State of the Union address, we've gotten a lot of attack emails really coming out defending President Obama. And let me state this really clearly here. We're not directly attacking President Obama. We're attacking both parties. Definitely this two-party system. One keeps doing, when they're in power, the status quo, while the other one dissents. When there's a change in regime, then the people who were dissenting now are doing the same things the other parties were doing, and now they're dissenting. Last night in the State of the Union, President Obama was doing a lot of this, it's not me, it's the last guy, thing, which is a crock. If it was not so much the last guy, why did you just need to borrow another $1.9 trillion after you borrowed, $1 trillion or so not a year ago? I think really if you operated your personal business the way the federal government's been operating theirs, you would be bankrupt, probably jailed for fraud. We really need to look deeply into these issues with Timothy Geithner and AIG. Watched the Senate hearings the other day about those. It was very evident that Mr. Geithner was being extremely evasive in his answers, saying everybody looked it over and it seemed to be okay with everybody, but he never really sat down and said, well, I looked at it or didn't. That's a problem. Mr. Bernanke was authorized again today, or reconfirmed, I should say. So really, if you're a Democrat out there jumping up and down about the past administration, you really have to come to the relevant fact that most of the people staffing this administration came from the last administration. And Republicans, if you're really upset that the people in Washington aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, well, they were the people doing it under your guy. So we as Americans need to stop pointing our fingers at each other and say it's us versus them. It's not a sporting event. It's not red versus blue. We are all Americans. We are all intertwined. We here at regimechange.org, we tend to look more in the middle. We see the extremes to the left. We see the extremes to the right. We believe there's some compromise in the middle. However, we don't believe that compromise lies within the two-party system. We believe that we need to be looking at a third party, or potentially a fourth party, to break the grid. And we're going to be bringing some things in commentary and articles in the near future to express those issues and how we can get around them. It's rather disheartening. We're looking at the Tea Party movement, and it seems the Tea Party movement is being hijacked pretty much by the not so overtly conservative Republicans. I don't personally believe that that's a wise issue to be going, a wise road to be going down, I should say. We may be headed to the Tea Party National Convention and cover that. We may not. It depends how quickly we can get the rest of our infrastructure up. A couple other people from regimechange.org should be posting updates here in the next few days. Quite frankly, this face is being tired of being the only face on the screen. So we're going to be putting other people up and having other commentaries. We are looking at other people coming on board and doing some commentary, doing some contributions with us. We are happily looking into accepting them as on board. But right now we're more or less working on our infrastructure. We hopefully will be getting our interfaces up and tuned in over the next couple of days, if not week. And when that occurs, we'll start pushing our name around a little bit and doing some advertising. So I thank you for being here now and watching us grow and twitch a little bit. So this will be the update for the day. And a little rambling, a little ranting, but quite frankly, I'm disgusted. And I think that's pretty much the best place to leave it for tonight. So you have a good night, and hopefully we'll live to fight another day tomorrow.